Hoffman. I'm very pleased to be here and present the global property crash scenario. That's one of the 4 scenarios. The other is euro meltdown, inflation, and what else? Dollar default, yeah. So these are the people who've been involved in this developing this particular scenario, mainly Scott and Jacqueline, and I had nothing to do with this. So I use the modeling approach, basically scenario development, loss estimation, macroeconomic modeling, and market mechanical assessment as a setting for this talk here. And I started with the scenario definition, which is basically defines the timeline of the scenario. That has been changed in recent time a lot. So I think this is the last version. So there's apparently it starts with rental yields falling in Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand, Singapore, and Malaysia. Then there's a property market begins to plummet in Brazil, China, India, and break markets fall by 80%. And phase 2 is basically you have the first defaults, contagion is spreading through the financial system. Contagion in Brazil, China, India takes construction, so it takes a downturn in Brazil, China, and India. Then it affects the real estate market in Australia, New Zealand, Canada. This is when economists label this as a global property collapse, which I find very interesting that they do this in phase 2. And phase 3 is basically the IMF declares that after the economists have declared there's a global recession and GDP and capital declines. Austerity measure have little impact, commodity prices fall, and yeah, that's a spiral downturn in economies. So the loss estimation. I don't know, present a contagion model we have been using developing for the financial system. And recently I've been at a conference in London where Victor Constantio, from the vice president from the ECB, was giving a keynote speech and talking about future stress test, macroprudential stress test model the regulator wants to basically introduce. And he mentioned he want to use network analysis tools, he want to use dynamic balance sheets, and he want to use agent-based modeling, which I found really interesting because, well, the first thing, the network analysis is what it's all about, and this is the model I'm presenting actually afterwards. The dynamic balance sheet is a model we developing at the moment. That's especially what I do when I'm not talking about other people's work. So that I do this with Fabio Caccioli, he's sitting up there. And the agent-based modeling is basically the next step where we introduce behavior to the agents, to the banks, in particular behavior that is related to liquidity generation. So this is what I do with Christoph Buchenholzer from the Austrian Central Bank. But what I'm presenting now is actually a very early version of the banking model that has been developed by Andy Skeleton a year ago. And it has mainly created this beautiful images here. This is basically a network of cross-holdings of global banks. So every node, every dot is the bank. And so what you can see here is basically the clustering of the geographically banks. So like North America red, Europe blue, and everything else green. And so the background of this type of model is to estimate. The purpose is to estimate losses, and that can be used in central banks to regulate the banking system, but also in individual and commercial banks to estimate losses and classify counterparties. This particular model is using data mainly from bank scope, which is basically balance sheet data, static balance sheet data, and cross-holding data. So this model is using about 18,000 banks. It has a total asset size of 210 trillion. Then the asset can be broken down into mortgages and other assets. As you can see here on this slide, total equity is 17 trillion, and yeah, that's pretty much. So the core of the model is the balance sheet of banks, which is here indicated by assets, liability, and equity. And of course, you can split this down. The interesting thing is for the cross-country, for the cross-holding, for the interbank network, you have like interbank liabilities and interbank assets, and you can add more like external assets like mortgages and so on, and you can build up. In this case, there are basically three separate networks. That is first the interbank network, and cross-holding network, and common asset network, and you can define basically the three channels of contagion, which is the interbank network contagion, the cross-holding network. It's not exactly contagion mechanism because it's actually limited to the organization, and the third one is of course common asset holding networks. So we assume that banks default on their obligations when they run into negative equity, and then they basically stop paying obligations, and the contagion mechanism is kicking in. Here's another nice graph, which is basically highlighting this technically important banks as defined from the Basel Commission, and here you see the top bucket, and that's the other two buckets of the banks. And this is the result from that particular study. So I have to say to the results that this is mainly capturing the first round effect, and part of the second round effect in terms of direct counterparty defaults. The model I've developing is fabulous, actually, not only taking the first and second round effect into account, but also the third round effect, which is fire sale. So you can assume that the results here are quite an underestimate of the real losses. And so you see on the left side, yes, S1 is one version of the scenario. It's basically the least severe one, S2 is the medium one, and S1 is the most severe scenario. And the columns are basically a cumulative shock on the different regions in the scenario. So here the results, apparently it wipes out like 17 to 27% of the financial system in terms of asset size, I think. So of course it's geographically diverse, and also diverse in terms of the financial institutions. So the next section is on macroeconomic modeling. So this is work. Okay, I'm gonna have to rush now. I'll make this very quickly. So that's the input for the Oxford economic model. They have you have basically on top are the input variables. It's house price index, share price, and rate shocks. So that's variables of the Oxford economics model, and then you have the shock duration, and S1 and S2 are the versions of the scenario. Then you have like the shock size for each of the region, and this is pretty much the output of it. And yeah, this is the output in terms of credit rating and government debt. And I'll go very quickly over this. This is GDP output on this graph, and we basically calculate GDP as the surface under the curve. And this is when you can find here baseline is 1 and S2, GDP as list for each of the regions. And the last section is market impact assessment. So it's basically portfolio analysis. So that's for portfolios which have been used in that study. It's basically high income, conservative, and balanced, and aggressive. It's just a very quick overview. You can see that in the aggressive portfolio there's a large investment in equity, and this is basically what the Oxford economic model generates an output for this particular portfolio. So that's a conservative portfolio here for the two different versions, for baseline and S1 and the S2 version of the model. So this is the overview for the different portfolios. So blue is high impact for baseline, and here we have for S1 and S2. And very quickly, I think I'm going to skip this and I go over to this slide. So this is a way to graphically illustrate correlation between assets. In this case, that's like simulated assets, and basically you can generate time series from using the macroeconomic model, and on the left side you have basically the correlation structure that existed immediately before the system had been shocked. So you to calculate the correlation you need the time window, and then there's a way to calculate the returns, and what we can see here, the vertices are assets, and the edges represent correlations between the assets. So if the assets are the edges are red, that would be like there's a negative correlation, but they're all positive, as you can see here. So the vertices itself, the size of the vertices represents the return of the asset, and red one is positive return and green is negative return. So if you look at where the big error is, this is basically our portfolio, and vertices that are close to the portfolio have a high correlation. Vertices that are further away, they have a low correlation. And so this is pretty much what you can see on this side of the chart. Then there's another one. So basically what they've been doing, they're basically freezing the correlation structure. So that's important because in reality the correlation structure would of course change after the shock, but they have been freezing it, and so it's still the same structure, and they basically have just updated the returns of the portfolio. And of course what you can see, it's a very good way to show that of course correlated assets just move together. That's pretty much what you see. And
negative.
And so there's also a conclusion in the report. Obviously, stay away from the market zero shock. Stay away from markets that are, or from countries that are highly in debt. Stay away from UK equity. Stay away. I don't actually go into the German stocks. So that's the results of the report. Yeah, I have actually a personal